Hello everyone, this is JPL, and I am joined with...
Matthew.
Yes, and we are the council of the podcast naming the brackets. And today we'll be doing our top 7 sci-fi movies. Why top 7? Because we have way too many.
Yeah, it was hard to choose just 5.
And kind of inaccurate to do 10
Yeah.
in the way we want the things to be. Anyway, so let's start with number 7.
Okay, I have one that I saw very recently, but I think it deserves to be on this list, and it is The Fifth Element.
Still need to watch that.
Yes. It is hilarious and great and awesome, and if you haven't seen it, it's worth checking out. The plot, for people who don't know, is a weird alien lady lands in a guy's taxi, and he has to sort of figure out what to do with her.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Gary Oldman is being the hilarious villain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. My number 7 will be Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's probably the only Marvel movie of this series.
Yeah, since we didn't clarify before, we're not doing sci-fi in general, we're doing more of the space and robot sci-fi category, so yeah.
No Inception.
No Inception type movies.
Okay. And that's basically the only one of the the new Marvel thing that I would say is the best. Like, my favorite of that series. Just because they use characters we've never really heard or seen of before and just made a great film out of it.
That was actually one of my least favorite of the Marvel movies, but the more I watch it, the better it gets.
Yeah,
I will
and
admit that.
the reason why I like it is just because it's just completely different formula than the other ones. You know?
Yep.
Okay, number 6.
Okay, for my number 6, I have a kind of controversial one, Prometheus. Now, I know we'll be talking about the other Alien movies later on, but Prometheus is one of my favorite of the movies because it's the first one that I started watching. I didn't finish watching it before I had seen other ones, but I think it's really good. It's really cool, the mythology they build up and the characters are good. It's pretty good.
Well, yeah, I think that some of the stuff in that movie was a pretty cool idea, but it just gives you more questions. They don't answer enough questions in the movie. They just leave you asking more questions, and then that's kind of what people don't really like about it the most. It's just because it ruins some of the mythology of the original Alien. Because there was no mythology there to begin with. There was, but we didn't really know the answers to any of that. Like, how did that get there? And we still don't, but now we know some of the origin of that characters, and not really.
Okay, what's your number 6?
Planet of the Apes, and I'm talking about the original series, not the new one. The new one I think is fantastic, but it's not enough. It's not enough sci-fi. It's too modern.
Yeah.
It's too modern and not enough of the actual sci-fi.
Yeah, it doesn't really fit with the rest of this list.
Which is why I'm doing the original series, because it starts off in space.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that this is a fantastic series of movies, even though a couple of them, they kind of lost track of the series. But overall, it's a fantastic series. One actor that was played in all of them and played multiple characters, and I thought it was an interesting thing to do. Okay.
Okay, number 5. For my number 5, I have Akira, the classic animated movie. That's another one that I just saw recently, and it's one of the movies that sort of popularized anime in the West, and it's really good if you haven't seen it yet. It basically invented the genre of body horror and sort of the idea of technology versus nature being portrayed in that way.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Number 5 for me is Godzilla, the new one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, I could also count all of the other ones, but that's just, it's 37 movies to go through.
Okay.
I have no specific one to talk about.
I enjoyed it. I haven't seen any of the other Godzilla movies, but yeah, I enjoyed the 2014 one, even though not everyone else did.
Yeah, I'm excited for Kong that comes out next year.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to be really good. Is that all for number 5?
Apparently.
Wow, we're just...
Yeah.
Going
Number 4.
Number 4.
For me, this one, it technically counts. I think it's Donnie Darko, which is a cult classic movie from 2001 about a mentally ill kid who starts hallucinating a giant 7-foot-tall rabbit who says the world is going to end in 28 days.
Okay.
And it's a really interesting movie. Definitely worth checking out.
Once I just finish watching everything else and there's no other options left, I might watch it. Okay, number 4 for me, E.T. Now this one is just, for me, a classic movie from my childhood. There's just so many emotions going towards it. It's amazing. This is what I'm just like.
I've only seen it once a while ago, and I don't remember much of it besides that I was really bored during it. So
I will say that yes, there are boring moments, but it's just the relationship with the kid and the alien that is just great. Everything else, yeah.
Okay, what are we on? Number 3. Okay, these are like, now we're into my like favorite. Any of these could be my number 1, but just the way it ended up.
Yeah.
So my number 3 is Blade Runner.
Okay.
Which, it's an awesome movie. It's really like, just the way it captures like the tone of the future. It's beautiful and melancholy and industrial, and it's really pretty to watch, and the soundtrack is amazing. Everything is amazing. It's really good.
Yeah. I still need to watch it. Like if they they just have to put it on Netflix and then I'll watch it. All right, for me, number 3, Interstellar. I think one of the best movies to come out of 2014. That was a really good year for movies.
I didn't like the last 20 minutes of it, but besides that, it is one of the most phenomenal movies. Especially like the way they establish the like Midwestern feel of the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. It's very unique in that sense, and just the feel of the movie, of the way they portray space in it is really cool.
It's really cool and like really realistic in some sense.
Yeah.
And like I love how the story, as you go throughout the story, at the end of the story, it just all connects and it just feels like they're a complete story.
I didn't like the ending personally. I felt like it was a little M. Night Shyamalan-esque.
M. Night Shyamalan is a worse ridiculous thing. Throw peanut butter sandwich in the air. If it's land down, the devil's near you. What kind of twist is that?
Okay.
Number 2.
For me, this is another anime movie, and that is Ghost in the Shell. And this one is like a really philosophical movie, but if you can get through it and if you can understand it, it's really cool the way it talks about identity, and it's very heavily inspired by like the world of Blade Runner and that type of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And again, another phenomenal soundtrack and a really cool movie.
Okay.
Really great action.
Yeah. Okay, we're on number 2?
Yes.
Okay. My number 2. Oh, Alien. The Alien as a series. Well, the first 2.
Yeah, I haven't seen beyond the first two. And number one's definitely my personal favorite.
Oh yes, number one and two, they're just the best one of the series, and I would have to say they're probably the best horror movie you can do. Like that's what I want to see in a horror movie. When I first saw those movies, I was like traumatized. Like the alien is probably my biggest fear of all my fears. If that creature was real.
I don't know if it's technically horror. I think it's more thriller, but I will agree it does do the thriller moments very effectively.
I just think it's horror. Horror with a mix of thriller.
I feel like... I don't know. I feel like horror is a slightly different genre, but that's a different discussion.
Like, basically, for me, Alien is the perfect horror movie. Everything else, they're kind of more slasher. Okay. They don't really have much of a story, and it makes no sense. Okay,
number one. This one, also, I don't know if it technically counts as a sci-fi movie. I've heard different things from different people, but that is Cloud Atlas. And it's a really cool movie. They take like 6 different stories over 6 different time periods, and one of them happens to be like a sci-fi type story, and even on its own, that sci-fi story like holds up really well. And then when you add everything else into it, into like this big context, it's really incredible. However, if you're going to watch it, make sure to read the Wikipedia summary or the book before you do. Otherwise, you'll be completely lost.
Okay. Al, for my number one, if you know me at all, then this should be obvious: Star Wars. And not a specific Star Wars, but Star Wars in general, including the Ewok films and the holiday special.
Yeah, I really like Star Wars as well. The reason it isn't on my list is because I knew you were going to talk about it, so I wanted to make space.
Number one.
Yeah. I mean, is there really anything we can say about Star Wars that hasn't been said before?
If you haven't seen it, watch it.
If you haven't seen it, you're probably haven't been... You were born recently, or maybe, just got a TV. Otherwise, I don't know what you were doing with your life.
Or you're in a different part of the world which has a very different culture than what we were used to.
Okay, well, I think that's it.
Wow. Shortest podcast ever.
Yeah. We should do more of these more often.
Editing this is going to be a blast. Well, it's going to be... No, not really. It's going to probably take just as long to edit the other ones, just because there's so many topics that we went through.
Yeah. Okay, well, are we done?
I think we are.
Okay, well, goodbye. See you next time.
Thanks for watching. Bye.